What's going on, ladies and gents, or should I say dude and other dude watching? We are back with another video. In our last video, we played Mateo as white, and we did fairly well. We are going through a chess.com bot challenge series, so we've been challenging some of the intermediate bots. We've challenged Nelson, Jay, David, Ali, and Mateo. And in our last video, we beat Mateo as white, and today we're going to play him as black. Once we can beat Mateo as black, we're going to go ahead and move on to the advanced bots, and we'll continue the series there. So let's go ahead and get the game started for today. And as you can see, I am hatless today. I'm not wearing a hat. I just felt like not wearing a hat today. So that's the style we're going with. And we are playing in the daytime. So we've got hopefully a better lighting in here. Let's go ahead and get the game started. Okay. This is somewhat interesting. Maybe I'll develop with the knight first. Actually, I can probably just come here straight up. Take space in the center. Fianchetto bishop. All right, here, here, here. I think that's okay. We're about to find out. Okay, challenging the center here. And of course, I guess the inaccuracy is if I try to defend with the bishop, then I do block the defense on this d5 pawn, allowing white to take. So I think for now we will defend with the knight on c6. Pinning the knight with the queen. Interesting. Should I take this pawn here? I can also push and kind of cram the center and kind of tighten it up. I think I'll do that. Probably not the most interesting to watch, but at this point I just want to try to take up as much space in the center as I can. Take back. And we will retreat. All right, so obviously my knight's still pinned, so I'm probably losing this knight here. Just trying to see if there's a way to get out of that. Let me see. Probably not. So let's go ahead and bring the bishop to d7. Now this b7 pawn is being watched by the bishop here. Let's develop the knight. More defenders. All right. And let's bring the bishop to e7. Well, that is my instinct there. Let me just make sure. Let me see. Let's do it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slide the queen over. Let's go ahead and kick the bishop back. Let's bring our pawn to g5 here. All right, sacrifices the bishop. Let me see. I'm just trying to look and see. There's this this check here. I do have an idea of bringing the knight, but I don't think that works because here and it takes, and then I wouldn't be able to take back there. So maybe thinking maybe I just bring the rook over to f8 here. However, that does run into this. Actually, no, it does not, because my knight would be watching that square. So hopefully I'm not. uh, you know, worsening my position here. And here I believe I can just bring the rook up. He is planning to tighten down on my position. Let's try it. Doesn't have this or this or this. Okay, so we're just going to play a cat and mouse game with the rook and knight here. Because once I go here, then he can come here again, and then we're just going back and forth. All right. Trying to sit up straighter, but just need the microphone closer. Let's see. Really, my queen's actually not in a good position at all. What can I do here? All right, I think at this point I want to try to get the queen out somehow. So I think I'm just gonna bring this b pawn to b6 and try to get the queen here to b7 so I can bring the rook out. And if I have a chance, I'd like to push this pawn to go ahead and... Okay. That goes out the window. Let's see. And I'm actually down a pawn right now. So let's see. Let's think about this. I think I'm going to try to go for a trade with the rooks. You know, this knight being here is kind of annoying. And I don't really see much else. Let me see here. Takes. Let's just push our pawns. Okay. I'm just watching out here. Alright, so there's a somewhat threat against this bishop here. Knight can take, and I can't take back. But now the rook is being blocked by the knight from pointing down the D file. And I can also, I'm thinking if I bring the bishop out here, knight takes, and then I take, and then queen take, or bishop takes. That's no good. Here also doesn't work. I guess I'm gonna bring the bishop back. Otherwise, if I keep the bishop here, I'm gonna lose it with this. So maybe that's the move. Now I'm wondering if I can relocate this knight here on f6. If I bring it over here to g4, there's not much it's doing there. I can relocate it here at that point, attacking the queen, and then maybe here for a check, but that just leads to some kind of trade. And this bishop before it moved was kind of creating some kind of battery here. So what happens if I know that he's looking to attack this square. And I'm just, because I'm not seeing much, I'm maybe hyper focusing on attacking the queen which is probably not good, but I'm also trying to take up space. I also have this move. I can just take there. Let me just attack the queen first. Alright, so let's think here. So I want to protect this pawn from this double attack. A few options here. I can bring up the rook, or I'm sorry, I can bring up the knight with plans of relocating it. Maybe here. I can bring it up here with a check, or up here. Another option is to bring the queen down to battery it to have two defenders. So if takes and takes and if takes and takes. Not quite sure what to do here. I think I'll move the knight and then try to reposition it. Let me make sure that's not a blunder. Let me think. Here, here. I would take back. There's no threat over here. Thinking of maybe pushing the rook up so that I can take the knight, but the knight would just move away. Question is where. If I were to go here. I mean, he does have a check. And the reason I want to bring the rook up, I think I mentioned, is I want to try to take it here while initiating another attack on the queen. So if I come here, he can also come here and be protected by the pawn, which wouldn't allow me to initiate this attack because he can just take there. So maybe for now, we relocate the knight. Pawn is watched by the rook. Now we've got a battery threat here. So can go for a check here. Just moves over, doesn't really do much. I do have some potential ideas. There's a few options. We can push this knight away. We can bring the bishop to pin to the king, give a check here. And if we push this pawn up, then we can give another check, have some bishops pointing down this diagonals. So, and okay, I was like, there's something here I'm not watching. The knight is watching this bishop, but this knight is undefended currently. So I do have to defend this knight. Otherwise, go for the check now. Maybe we defend the knight with the bishop. No, that would blunder my queen. Let's trade. Let's move under the rook. All right. Now we'll go for a check just to block the d file from the rook, just to avoid any other tricks there. Let's attack the knight, although the knight, let's move up to a7. Attacks from there and also protects our a pawn. And rook sacrifices itself for the knight, which makes me kind of nervous. But I guess we technically, well, no, it's not that we have a better position because uh, we're down 3 pawns. And so we've got in exchange one rook for 2 knights. And I'm thinking, what if I relocate for a knight attack? If I move here, this pawn's still defended. This bishop's defended by my king. Knight can come here or here. If I could take one of these knights, I should be able to take the other, because right now they're only defending themselves. Except that's a good defense. If I take, then this knight's defended by the rook, so wouldn't be so simple. Takes back. So I'm thinking takes back, give a check, and then pin the knight there. And then once that's pinned, we might have to move the king away so that there's no check when the rook tries to come down to the 8th rank. Okay, we could take here giving a check. There is this threat of the rook. And right now this pawn is the only defender of this knight. Takes, comes down. Maybe come down 1 square. Still pinning and blocking this rook from coming down. Let's try that. Actually now, this knight's no longer pinned, so I'd have to move away. Instead of moving down to, actually the bishop will still be defended by the king. So I'm thinking if I should either move to one of these squares over here, but I don't know that I like that. I should be okay there. Let's move the bishop. Probably have to take there. All right, let's see. I think I might try to go for an attack on the g3 pawn. I think I'm okay there. Let's see. However, can come down, be defended by the by White's bishop. So I might maybe relocate here, relocate the bishop first, and then go for the attack. If it drops, I can try to go for some attack here. Let's do that first. Knight might have to go for the trade. Protected by the bishop. Let's try to move the rook out. Maybe come to one of these squares. All right, this is going to be one of those crucial moves here that determines the game. Because if takes, then takes the rook, then I would lose that, and he's watching this square. Also, I could slide up one, and then if once the bishop takes the rook, then I move up again and promote to a queen. I'm thinking what happens if I move here, then he would just take my pawn. I would lose the pawn. So let's try to get a queen. I mean, maybe we're better off in the endgame with a queen than a rook. And we could likely win if we can take all three pawns and the bishop as well. That's going to be the only way to take this game. Otherwise, there's no other way. Now the question is, will the bishop put itself in a place where it can be taken? This position here might just be a tie. The only way to do this would be to either stop this pawn or to somehow, you know, checkmate the king. Let's try to reduce the squares for the king to run. Blocked in right now. Okay, let's... I'm trying to keep eye on this square because if the pawn comes here and I miss it too late, then it'll still be defended by the bishop, and I just don't really want that. Here, here, there it is. All right, guys, that was not fun. I'll be honest. It was mostly a headache the whole fight. Probably one of the worst games, but I think we're coming out on top. Okay, there's a check there. Let's come down one. And now I will bring the king down one square to c6. We take. Make sure that's not a stalemate. Hold on. Nope. King still has some squares to run to. But he is hoping to stalemate me. And if I come here, you still have some runaway squares. You're fine. And that is our game as black against Mateo. Let's go ahead and really quick, let's just see some of those misses. Take 2 minutes here, hopefully not too long. So my accuracy is 72.7. Mateo 69. He had a brilliant move in there. Let me see what that was. Okay. Rook takes knight was his brilliant move. Let's see my blunder. Okay, so this was actually the blunder, bringing the knight up to check, which led to Mateo's brilliant move. All right, so that's our game as black against Mateo today, guys. Now that we've taken out all the intermediate bots, in our next video, we will be going up against Wendy from Canada. She's rated 1500, and we will be playing our first game against her as white. And then once we have beaten her as white, we'll play her as black, and then we'll move on to the next spot. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you do want to see our prior challenges to these bots, make sure to go on my channel. And that's going to be it for today, guys. See ya.